pulling back from a loss even in a slow session. Trading Forex isn't always the exciting cut and thrust that you'd imagine it is. Today's London session saw me early on in a losing position, but then managing to pull it back even when there's not that much price action going on and it's a pretty slow session. You can still do it. Please remember to hit subscribe and give me the thumbs up, and let's get straight over to the charts. Okay, so it's the 29th of October 2019, 6:44. There's a red news event coming out on the Australian dollar. Usually I wouldn't take any trades just before a red news event. However, this red news event is going to be the Royal Bank of Australia's governor speaking about, let's see what it is. It doesn't really matter to me in the way that I trade, but okay, so there's a speech there. You can see that, some echoes of Melville, an annual public lecture. So could have an effect on the market, but the thing is, with these spoken events, we don't treat them like the numbers events. When you've got numbers coming out, like you've got on the CB consumer confidence a bit later on today on the US dollar, would never open up a US dollar trade just before these numbers are released. So that's why I'm actually in on two trades just before that red news event, and we're on the news candle now. Like I say, it's the Royal Bank of Australia's governor speaking at some kind of event. So I've actually taken the Australian dollar, US dollar, got in this at 54, came through an entry point on the last candle, and I've taken this long, looking for further upside movement to where I've got my take profit, which is up at 80. And the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, again took this on the last candle, in this at 69. And so again, looking for that upside movement, looking for price to push through this 80 level and up towards that 0-0. And that's it. They're the only two trades that I'm holding at the moment. No other entry points for me to take right now. I've been through, as usual, the 30-second trade plan that we do at the Price Action Traders Institute, and I'm ready to trade. If you'd like to find out a little more about the way that we trade, or maybe even join us, I'll put a link in the description box down below this video. So if you go below this video, you'll see a description box and all the links that you'll need will be there. Okay, I'll pause the video for now, and I'll be back in a little while to give you an update, let you know how these trades are doing, and see if there's anything else that I've managed to get in on. Okay, back soon. Okay, back again. Time is 7:38, so we've still got a bit of time before the London Open. We're seeing some early moves starting to take place. Mainly the Japanese yen strength. Seeing Japanese yen strength across the board at the moment. But I've just seen an entry point hit on this Euro US dollar, so I thought I'd give it one shot. In this at 89, looking for price to pull down through this 80 level here, and maybe down towards the 50 levels, 50 target that we go for. I've just taken that as it's come through an entry point right there. The Australian dollar, US dollar, that early trade that I took, showing a very, very small amount of profit. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, just sitting on the line there. We're seeing the Australian dollar trying to push through some strength there, pushing it up, but the Japanese yen strength is also pulling this down, holding it on that line where I got in there. The US dollar, Japanese yen, just taking this as it come through one of our entry points, taking this at 94, looking for further downside movement on this. US dollar, Canadian dollar, saw this spike out of an area where we have an entry point, and I've taken that, and since then price has pulled back a little bit. Still got over 5 minutes left on this candle, so not too much of a problem at the moment. And Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, seen this come through an entry point, taken this at 44. So I'm currently holding 6 trades, fully loaded, and that is usually my limit on the amount of trades that I take. Times that I usually deviate from that is if I see massive price moves across the board. Say if the Japanese yen really starts to show some strength and across the board it's moving, and I'll get some opportunities to take some more trades, then I might get in on those and then cut back again, looking at other trades that are not moving too much. But that's how I'll play this out at the moment. So anyway, like I say, it's 20 minutes before the London Open. Fully loaded right now. Let's see how this plays out. I'll pause the video for now, and I'll be back in a little while to give you an update. Okay, back with an update. Seeing this Euro US dollar pulling back a little bit. Didn't move out of an area that I needed it to, and I punched out of that for -1 pip. All the other trades, they've remained in safe areas for now. Some of them are pulling back a little bit. The Australian dollar, US dollar, still very, very slightly in profit. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, that Japanese yen strength pulling this down. And that's slightly below my entry point right now. US dollar, Japanese yen, moving into profit because of that Japanese yen strength. US dollar, Canadian dollar. Saw this just about hold a position that I needed it to be able to remain with this on that last candle. And the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, seeing this moving down again. Like I say, it's all about that Japanese yen strength. So we need to see if this continues and see if there's any other pairs that we can actually get in on. The big mover at the moment is the Euro Japanese yen. I missed an early entry point on this. It would have been very early, and that's the one that's moving at the moment. Seeing slight weakness in the euro and that bigger strength in the Japanese yen, pulling that down nicely. Okay, that's all I have for you at the moment. Down 1 pip and holding those other pairs. I'm looking for a re-entry on that euro US dollar, seeing if this euro Japanese yen pulls the EU down along with it. So I'm looking for a re-entry on that. Okay, I'll pause the video for now and I'll be back in a little while. Okay, I've made a decision to punch out of that Australian dollar Japanese yen, seeing that strength in the Japanese yen really picking up momentum now. Punched out of that. I don't know, I mean, maybe this Japanese yen strength will ease off at any point and the Australian dollar will continue an upside move, but I didn't want to take that risk, so I've actually punched out of that, losing 5 pips. I'm currently down 6 pips at the moment, holding those other pairs. That's the mover this morning, as you can see, the euro Japanese yen. Okay, I'll pause again and be back in a little while. Okay, US dollar, Canadian dollar, failed to move outside of an area that I needed it to, and I've punched out of that, losing 3 pips. So currently down 9 pips and still holding the Australian dollar, US dollar, seeing a bit of a pullback on that. US dollar, Japanese yen, seeing that moving away from my entry point quite nicely, down towards that 80 level. And the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, again, Japanese yen strength pushing this away from my entry point. Looking for it to move down towards that 20 level where I've got my take profit. Okay, I'll pause again and I'll be back in a little while. Back with another update, and you can see this New Zealand dollar, US dollar came through an entry point. And I took this at 52 as it came through that entry point. Taking it short, looking for further downside movement. So I'll just pull my take profit in down at that 20. Down at that 20 level there, so looking for that price to come through this 50, through that previous day's low, and down to that 20 level, which is where I've got my take profit. Other than that, everything else is remaining the same right now. The Australian dollar, US dollar, still in that, or that's pulling back even deeper now. The US dollar, Japanese yen, seeing that moving down quite nicely towards that 80 level. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, seeing that holding its own. That Japanese yen strength is still holding that down. And the last trade, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, that I've just taken. Okay, pause again and I'll be back in a little while. One more trade taken, just taking a re-entry on the euro US dollar after punching out on that earlier trade, taking a re-entry and got back in on this at 80. Looking for a further downside movement. For now I'm going to set my take profit down towards that 50 level. See if that can pull down somewhere near there. So that's it. The other trades I'm still holding are Australian dollar, US dollar. Not doing a great deal at all. Might even punch out of that in a minute. US dollar, Japanese yen. Seeing that coming down nicely. A little bit of sideways movement right now, but still showing a profit at the moment. US dollar, Canadian dollar. Trade I took on last candle. Saw price push out of an area that I needed it to take a trade, and it's just come back on that line now. Price is just below the entry point. Need to see what happens with this candle. May have to punch out of this. The Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, still holding quite nicely, showing a profit. Looking for it to move down towards that 20 level. And the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, seeing it come through after my entry, through that 50 level. Looking for it to push down through this previous day's low, down towards this 20. Okay, I'll pause again and I'll be back in a little while. So an update, the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Taking this both ways as it came out of the bottom end of this overnight range. I took that short, I had to punch out, losing 3 pips, and it's pushed out through the top of that overnight range and closed back inside that range. So punched out again for another 3 pips. So at the moment I'm currently down 12 pips overall, and still holding those other trades. Okay, I'll pause the video for now and I'll be back in a little while. Okay, back with an update. Just taken this euro Japanese yen. Been looking to get in this trade since before the London session started this morning, and this is the first opportunity that I've had. So order's just been taken there. Got in this at 67, looking for further downside movement. I take profits down at 20 at the moment, but maybe a little bit too enthusiastic. We'll see if that euro continues to drop and the Japanese yen strength continues to make a play and push this down even further. So where am I at the moment? Let's quickly run through these pairs I'm holding. Euro US dollar, still holding that at the 80 re-entry. That euro Japanese yen that I've just taken. Australian dollar, US dollar, still holding that, still in the red, not doing a great deal. US dollar, Japanese yen, saw that coming into profit. Price is just pulling back on this, and chances are I might even punch out of this for break even. We'll see what happens. We're getting close to this candle closing. I'll see what happens with this candle to decide whether I'm going to stick with this or get out of it. It's not been great this morning, not a great deal of price action taking place at all. Well, not so as saying that, there's been some price action, but no follow through really. It's all starting to pull back at the moment. The Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, still holding that. That's doing exactly the same. Moved out of this area where I took the trade from, and now it's pulling back the last 4 candles. And the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, just seeing this shuffling sideways at the moment after that initial move on those 2 candles after I took this trade. So still showing a little bit of profit, but nothing spectacular. Okay, so that's where I am right now. I'm still down 12 pips, just 12 pips at the moment, even though I've taken quite a lot of trades this morning. I've punched out of 4 trades, and because we're working with very, very tight stops, and we've got criteria where if a trade goes the opposite way to what we're looking at, we get out quickly, and the small stops and the small losses are much easier to make up to be able to put ourselves back into profit. Okay, I'll pause the video for now, and I'll be back in a little while with an update for you. So back again just to show you these results. I've punched out of those last pairs that I was in. I was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades. Punched out of those simply because it feels like it's been a long slog. The trade in the London session today, really quite boring, sideways price action, not a great deal going on. So I've had enough and I've punched out. The euro US dollar, you can see where I got in here, punched out here, and that was just for 4 pips. So taking 4 pips on the euro US dollar. Euro Japanese yen, in on that yellow line. I was tracking this for a while, looking for an entry on this, and this was the first opportunity that I had to get in. Watch this come down here and punched out of this. Now you can see price is pulling way back, so happy that I did get out when I did, and I took 8 pips on the euro Japanese yen. US dollar Japanese yen, got in this quite a while ago, sat and watched this price pull, come down nicely, pull all the way back, looked like it was going to close back inside this range, this overnight range, but it came back out again, stayed out, and I managed to get 7 pips on the US dollar Japanese yen. Canadian dollar Japanese yen, one of the bigger moves here, still not fantastic though, but managed to take 10 pips on this. You can see the entry as it came through an entry point there. Watch price come down, pull way back again, and then came back down again. So taking 10 pips on the Canadian dollar Japanese yen and the New Zealand dollar US dollar. Managed to get out of this with 10 pips. This was more of a steady move, coming down, bit of sideways action, pushing down again, and I punched out of that for 10 pips. So I'll round this up quickly. 10 trades taken, 5 losses, that's minus 17 pips. 5 wins, giving me plus 39 pips. Give me a net total of plus 22 pips today. You've seen through the video, pretty boring, pretty dull session, not much going on, but hanging on with it, and you know, sometimes you get the opportunity to pull back and get back on top again and pull a profit. Please remember to hit subscribe and like, and if you'd like to find out more about what we do, take a look down in the description. There's a link there for you. Okay, thanks very much.